A little advice. A little advice. Come on, come on, come on, yeah. Just a little advice. Just a little advice with Christine Little. Check it out.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Christmas Eve episode of the A Little Advice podcast, episode number 21. I am doing a solo episode today because I'm like, how many people are going to be listening to podcasts today? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, etc. So I thought maybe I'll just do a little short episode, just solo. I've never done this before. I'm really nervous. You may know me from doing this podcast, doing comedy, and doing lots of other things that I'm not going to list because that's weird. So this episode, I'll give you some holiday advice, some holiday little advice tips. I'm not going home for the holidays, so that's going to be fun. It was hard for me to think of stuff to give advice about. I'm like, I haven't been home for the holidays in a really long time. Like even this year, I usually go home for Thanksgiving, but I went like the week after this year, you know, just to be different. I'm like the hipster of holidays. What else was I going to tell you? I don't remember, but without further ado, I'm just going to launch into it. Please enjoy this episode. If you like it, hey, share it. Subscribe, rate, do all that stuff. And happy holidays to you guys. Enjoy. Hey, it's me again, Christine Little. Want to give you some little advice for the holidays. But before I go into that, I want to tell you a little bit more about why I felt inclined to do this podcast, because I realized I never shared that with you guys. One of the main reasons I wanted to do this podcast was because I do have a BA in psychology. I know I mentioned that before, but I've never stopped having an interest in personal development, psychology, and how people function. And it's so fascinating to me. It's like one of the only other things in my life besides comedy that I'm pretty passionate about and can stay interested in for the long term. I don't see it being like a total career for me, but this is a fun outlet to give advice and share stuff that I've learned. It's funny because I read so many books and I have such a bad memory, and I'll read a book, and while I'm reading the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, this is me. I found the answer to what's wrong with me. This is it. And then once the book is done, it's like I forget all about it and I'm on to the next book. But you know what? That's life. I think a lot of the books are redundant too. I mean, when it all boils down to it, it's like be grateful, listen to your thoughts, and know that they're not real. They're just thoughts. And I don't know, be a good person basically. But they all say it in different ways. So that's why I do this. I had a really weird childhood, and I think that made me a little cuckoo. So I think people who are interested in psychology or in performing, like, I don't know, this is just a theory of mine. I'm like, something happened. I always get weirded out when I meet someone who like seems normal and they're doing comedy. I'm like, what happened to you? What's your story? I know it's so messed up. One time, I won't tell you who it was, but I was talking to this girl who does comedy, and I was like, well, what happened to you? You seem normal. Like, what's your deal? And she's like, nothing. I had a really normal childhood. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. And then a couple minutes into the conversation, she's like, oh, yeah, my dad had a whole other family that we didn't know about, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. You didn't think that was weird? Is that a normal upbringing? I mean, I'm not trying to, talk mess about her, but sometimes we don't even know that we're weird, right? Anyway, I got to quit rambling, and I'll just go ahead and give you my little advice for the holidays. Okay, I made a little list here. Number one, I said catch up on your email subscriptions. I don't know about you, but I subscribe to a lot of different email lists, and I have so many unread email messages from those lists, and it's stuff I'm really interested in. And I'm like, oh, I gotta read that, but it's not urgent. But now I have all this time. There's no other urgent emails. Let's read those subscriptions. Let's see what I was so interested in. Maybe I'll unsubscribe. Maybe I'll read it more often. Who knows? Who knows? Number two, this is for the people who traveled to meet with their families or whatever you do. When people ask how that thing is going, whether it be your career, your relationship, something else you don't want to talk about, this is actually kind of like a joke I have. I say just rhyme at them to get them off your back. Oh, yeah, how's your career going, Christine? You still doing the comedy? You know what? I'm gripping and ripping with it. Oh, cool, cool. What else can they say? Oh, Christine, you still with that guy? Oh, you know what? We're good. We're just chewing and pooing. I mean, that didn't really work, but you get the gist. Rhyme, blow it off. But for real, just be like, hey, it's none of your business. And if you're listening to this, you're an adult and you can say stuff like that, right? You can also ask them about something they might not want to talk about. Oh, how's my relationship? How's your gout? Are we doing this? Come at me, bro. Number three, if you're a person like me who doesn't celebrate Christmas, when people say Merry Christmas to you or Happy Holidays, you don't have to tell them that you don't celebrate Christmas. You can just be like, thanks. Or do what I do and say, Happy Honda Days. Merry Christmas, Christine. Happy Honda Days. Everyone knows what that is. No one's going to get mad about that. Number four, it's probably too late for you if you're already reading this because it's Christmas Eve, but I recommend flying Southwest. If you have to fly, you can cancel your tickets at any time with no penalty, and they don't charge for luggage. The only thing that sucks about them, I mean, besides the obvious, is that you got to like check in for your flight 24 hours on the dot because you want to get in boarding group A or B. When you start getting to C, you may not get the seat that you want. You might get one of those middle seats. Ugh, man, I had a scare last time I flew. I was like, is this going to happen? It didn't. I got my window seat, so it's all good. All right, moving on. Number five, politics. I'd say for this one, it's a tricky one. I'd say just master the art of changing the subject. And this is advice that will also work well for those people that are all up in your business. Christine, how's your career going? It's good. How is that pudding? Is that good? I've never had that before. See what I did there? See? Try that. What else? Gifts. Number six. If you don't like a gift, you know what? Sometimes it's like you don't like the gift. It's the thought that counts, blah, blah, blah. Or I don't know. But sometimes you're not being a dick about it. Sometimes someone gives you a gift and you're like, where is this coming from? Like, do you even know me? Like, why would I want this? It feels kind of crappy. If someone gives me like some crappy gift that's definitely not something I would want them to at least say something like, hey, I forgot to get gifts. This is a last minute thing. I know this isn't what you wanted, but, I did my best. I'm like, I admire honesty. Thank you for giving me the gift of your honesty. That happened to me one time, though. Like, one of my friends gave me a birthday gift one of my best friends, I should say, gave me a birthday gift that was weird to give me. It was a whale watching trip. And I was like, that's cool, I guess. But, like, where is this coming from? Like, I've never mentioned wanting to watch whales. I think you got to get up early to do that. Like, it's just not my wheelhouse. It's not something that I would go out of my way to do, watch whales. I mean, whales are cool, don't get me wrong, but it's a shitty gift. And it turned out that it was a fake gift because I guessed what the surprise gift she was already going to get me was. And she needed to psych me out first. So she pretended like she got me a whale watching gift. I didn't actually get a whale watching gift. So if someone gives you a crappy gift, just be like, cool, I guess. Be grateful for it anyway. Or you can be like, is this a real gift? Or is this a fake gift? Do you have a real gift for me? Because you'll be giving them the gift of your honesty. Am I right? Yeah, you see why I didn't make it as a psychologist? All right, number 7. This is actually a good advice. Be sure to take some time for yourself during all the chaos. Take some time alone when there's so many people around. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by people and I just want it to be quiet. I just want to like get time to myself. So don't be afraid to sneak off somewhere and like say you're taking a nap. I don't know, journal, meditate, just take some time to get grounded and get your space because it's good for other people so you don't go nuts on them. When you're tested too much, it's like, you know what? I'll be back. Go run an errand, Number 8, do a puzzle. I love puzzles. Have you done a puzzle lately? When was the last time you did a puzzle? Those are so fun, and they could be like a fun family activity. It feels like you're completing something. You're getting like a dopamine rush from like getting something done. So I recommend that. Number 9, use this time to plan out your 2019 goals and reflect on your 2018 goals. I don't know if you're a goal setter. I am. I love looking at my goals from the previous year and seeing what I got done and what I didn't and making goals for the next year. I got to say last year 2018, I went a little ham on like all these goals. I don't know what I was thinking. I wrote so many in different categories. I'm like, I didn't do most of these. These aren't even relevant, but what I did do was a lot of other cool stuff. So if you didn't accomplish all your goals from this year, like don't beat yourself up about it. Just take some time to reflect and think, what did I do this year? What was my year consumed with? Life happens, And number 10, appreciate it while you got it. Have fun. Your family's not going to be around forever. You're not going to be this age forever. Things aren't going to be the way that they are. Always enjoy it while you're there. Even if it's not good, just try to take some time and kind of look back from it all and say, you know what? These people aren't bad. I'm happy to be here. I'm having a good time. Figure out what you need to do to have a good time. I guess that's all I got. I don't really know. I've never done a solo podcast episode before. So I hope you enjoyed it. And the next week episode, actually, you know what? Sorry. I think this is going to be the end of season 1 for me. I'm going to resume episodes sometime next year. Could be January, could be February, who knows? But in the meantime, I appreciate you so much for listening. Honestly, I really, really do. I've never done a podcast by myself before. Not just a solo episode, but a podcast on my own. I did podcasts with other people, but this is like my own little baby. So this was really cool. Do I have shows coming up? Yes, I do. I think I'm at the Mermaid on Wednesday, the 27th in Los Angeles somewhere. So check that out. Also, I update my shows a lot on my website, kristinelittle.net. I get a lot of last minute shows and I always post about them or try to, even if it's last second, on my Instagram, and that's at the X Teen Little, the as in the X Teen Little, and that's my Twitter as well. Thank you guys so much for listening. I love you so much. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this season of A Little Advice.